Or you want to stand here?
What do you want to say?
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We just need to make a quick announcement.
Hey everyone, Yvonne wants your attention. Thanks.
We need to make a quick announcement.
Здравствуйте, если вам надо русский переводчик, вы можете одеть вот это и на второй канал перевести, и вам будет по-русски переводить. Спасибо.
If everyone will please take their seats. We are now calling to order the City Council meeting Monday, May 15th. And will Roy Eubner please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Can we please have a roll call?
Councilmember D'Amico?
Yes.
Councilmember Duran?
Here.
Councilmember Councilmember Horvath?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Heilman?
Here.
Mayor Meister?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Report of closed session agenda. Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. This meeting was called to order tonight at 5:30 in this room. There were no public comments on the closed session agenda. There were no actions taken in closed session, and so here we are, ready to go. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Now for approval of agenda, I'd like to suggest that we move 5A, 5B, and 5C to consent. That's the noticing of the levy of an annual assessment for Santa Monica Boulevard Maintenance District, fiscal year 2017 to 2018. That's 5A. 5B is consideration of annual report of Sunset Strip bid and resolution of intention to levy an assessment for fiscal year 2017-2018. And 5C is consideration of annual report of advisory board, the design district, and adoption of a resolution of intention to levy an assessment for fiscal year 2017-2018.
Mayor, I would like to table item 5B so we could discuss it next meeting, if that's all right.
Okay, you know that there's a hearing that's going to be following at the next meeting?
Yes. This is the resolution just announcing that we're going to have a public hearing and public discussion on it.
Right,
On June 5th.
Correct.
right. June 5th? Thank you, Jean. We'll have someone to look into that, please. So do you still want to?
If we
Move
pass this, can we change what's in this on June 5th?
Yeah, we'll have the ability to change it.
Okay, then I'm fine with that.
And then I would also like to ask that we table to the next meeting 2I, which is Capital and Special Projects Program Update, and 4A, which is the amendment to agreement of consultant services for the West Hollywood multi-unit neighborhood study. Is everybody okay with that? We're not, we're going to do a voice roll call. Yvonne?
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion passes.
Oscar, can we check on that? Is Oscar here? Okay, Oscar is on it, Jean.
Ken's coming in, he'll fix it. Thanks, Ken.
Okay, right, now we have adjournment motions.
I have a few.
Okay, Lindsay?
Thank you, Mayor. First, I would like to adjourn in memory of Mario Maglieri, who passed away on May 4th at the age of 93. We all know he was the owner and founder of Whiskey A Go-Go and the Rainbow Bar and Grill, but he was also a good friend and supporter and just a great community member and civically engaged and all around wonderful man. With Mario as the manager, these clubs became legendary venues on the Sunset Strip and obviously known as the center of rock and roll. Mario is survived by his wife of more than 70 years, Scarlett, his son Michael, and grandchildren Michael, Cheryl, and Gina. And a public memorial will be held at the Rainbow Bar and Grill at 1 p.m. on May 28th for anyone in the community who would like to attend. I'd also like to adjourn in memory of Andrea Harlan, who is the sister of Andy Harlan, a West Hollywood resident and advocate for Vietnam veterans. He himself is a Vietnam veteran. She passed away last Tuesday in Nashville, Tennessee, and was a school teacher for over 20 years. And Andy regrets that he's not able to be here tonight, but he is in Tennessee with his family. And finally, I'd like to adjourn in memory of Teresa Guardia, who is the mother of Maria Greichen, who works diligently with our public safety team for many years, specifically with our fire department as our liaison to them. And we extend our condolences on behalf of our community to her and her entire family as well. Thank you, Mayor. Oh, and one more, I'm so sorry. And as is our tradition in the city of West Hollywood, to adjourn our council meetings in honor of military service personnel who were killed in service, Senior Chief Petty Officer Kyle Milliken, age 38. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Horvath. And now,
I have one as well.
oh, I'm sorry.
I'd request that we adjourn in memory of Marilyn Lewis. She co-founded Hamburger Hamlet with her husband, Harry Lewis, and Hamburger Hamlet was an institution up on Sunset Boulevard that catered to a lot of people here in the community. It opened up numerous locations, and she was a trailblazer in the restaurant industry. I'd request that we adjourn in her memory as well.
Mayor, first I want to join my colleague, Councilmember Horvath, in adjourning in memory of Mario Maglieri. I met Mario in the mid-1970s when I was just a club kid. And Mario was always there. He, Elmer Valentine, and Lou Adler were the three princes of the Sunset Strip in the 1970s. Now Elmer's gone. Now Mario's gone. Lou's the last surviving member of that trio. And he's always a gentleman, Italian gentleman, always nicely dressed. And whether you had 3 rings in your nose or your ear, he didn't care. Mario was friendly to everybody on the Strip. So our deepest condolences to the Maglieri family. I also want to adjourn in memory of Angela Lee. Angela was a Gelson's employee. Many of you may have known her. She was always greeting people in the store. Jimmy Palmieri tells me she could talk about anything from hockey to Hello Kitty. She was, about 6 or 7 years ago, she asked Jimmy Palmieri about volunteer opportunities in the community. She was not a drug addict and she was not a lesbian, but she happily volunteered at the city's annual Pride booth, volunteering in those particular areas. She was a volunteer for the Tweakers Project, Sizzle, and a local hospital, longtime volunteer in West Hollywood and loved by many in and around City Hall. I ask that we adjourn in memory of Angela Lee this evening also. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And now our city clerk, Yvonne, will administer the oath of office to our newly elected mayor, John Heilman.
gonna happen.
And I just thought I'd wear it.
Kislyak. Kislyak.
I, John Heilman, do solemnly swear that while serving in the office of mayor of the city of West Hollywood, I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California. I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California. I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Congratulations.
And now the city clerk will administer the oath of office to newly elected Mayor Pro Tem John Duran.
And repeat after me. I, John J. Duran, do solemnly swear that while serving in the office of Mayor Pro Tempore of the city of West Hollywood, I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California.
I will bear true faith and allegiance
Bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United
to the
States
Constitution of the United States and to the Constitution of the State of California.
I take this obligation freely
Take this obligation freely
without any mental,
reservation or purpose of evasion.
and I will well and faithfully,
Will and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
congratulations.
We're going to now switch seats, and I'm going to hand this gavel over to John Heilman.
So I apologize, I'm a little rusty at this, but I think I'll get the hang of it. The first thing I want to do is, before we have a few speeches, I want to introduce some of the dignitaries who are here tonight. Our fantastic West Basin Water District Director, Scott Houston, thank you for being here tonight. I believe Kristen Woodruff, representing Senator Dianne Feinstein, is here. Thank you for being here. Michael Aguilera, representing Congressman Adam Schiff, is here. Fernando Morales, representing Senator Ben Allen. And our own Josh Kerpies, representing Assemblymember Richard Bloom. Thank you all for being here. And it's my great pleasure to recognize our outgoing mayor, Lauren Meister. It's always difficult to be in this seat during an election year, and she did a fantastic job running our meetings, keeping us on track, and I want to publicly thank you for that. We have a fantastic proclamation for you, and I am going to read it because it talks about some of your great accomplishments. You were elected in 2015 and sworn into as mayor just 1 year later. You are passionate about improving the quality of life for West Hollywood residents and visitors, and that's evident in many of your accomplishments. You've worked tirelessly with our city staff and community stakeholders in your capacity as mayor and in your previous work as a planning commissioner and a public safety commissioner many years ago as well. You've worked on spearheading policies to maintain neighborhood livability through well-scaled, environmentally friendly development. And you've worked to try to strengthen affordable housing for residents and those who are aging in place. You recognize the 90th anniversary of Route 66 and other significant historic and cultural activities during your term as mayor. You've been instrumental in working on homelessness and expanding supportive services and mental health outreach to the homeless community members. And you've led the effort to respond to the November election of President Trump. During your term as mayor, you have supported legislation to address women's rights, animal rights, environmental sustainability, gun control, and universal access to health care. On behalf of the city and my colleagues here, we want to extend our great praise to you and our great thanks. Thank you so much for your service. But it's not just the proclamation, because we have a wonderful plaque for you as well. I was going to say, please join me in thanking Mayor Meister, but you're already ahead of me. So thank you, Lauren, for your great service this last year. And I know that you have some remarks that you would like to make as our outgoing mayor, and please share them with us now.
Thank you, Mayor Heilman. I really appreciate it. I think you stole my speech, though. I just wanted to talk a little bit about some accomplishments that I'm really proud of and some things that I've learned as mayor. So as mayor, I worked on a number of exciting initiatives, from developing a public access defibrillation program, or PAD, to raising the bar on design standards, environmental programs, and sustainability, to supporting our neighborhood serving small businesses. I also served on the city's Homeless Initiative Subcommittee and Budget Subcommittee with Mayor Heilman, and I want to thank him for his experience, which, first time serving on those committees. Well, actually, Budget Committee, we worked together, Councilmember Horvath and I, and it's really where you learn about how the city works. And I want to thank public safety staff for allowing me to participate in the city's Emergency Operations Center exercise and training video. And with the support of our public works staff, I want to thank Michelle Bell and Oscar Delgado. I was able to start a dialogue with the City of Beverly Hills about reducing or hopefully eliminating a surcharge that West Hollywood residential and commercial water customers have been paying for years, and I'll keep you posted on that work. This past year, I joined with mayors from across the nation to show support for preserving the Affordable Care Act, as well as standing up for our more vulnerable communities with the Mayor's Stand for All campaign. It was an amazing honor to speak at the Women's March LA along with other community leaders such as Councilmember Horvath, and to see firsthand hundreds of thousands of people become politically activated, and not just women, men, children, everybody. As council member, I'll continue to work on neighborhood livability and public safety issues, as well as advocate for neighborhood-friendly development. I'll also keep advocating for animal abuser registry and for moving our animal care and control contract to a West Side facility, hopefully once our contract with LA County expires. I look forward to seeing the results of the Recreation Programs and Services online survey to see how we can enhance the fun side of aging in place. And so the three things that I've learned as mayor: one, never try to put forth a moratorium after an election, only before an election. Two, when in doubt, ask the city attorney. And three, something is better than nothing. Compromise moves the dial forward. And we all have to compromise to get closer to what we all want. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Heilman.
Well, thank you all. I wanted to share a few remarks as well. I first want to thank the people of West Hollywood for re-electing me in March and giving me this incredible opportunity to serve our fantastic community. And secondly, I want to thank my colleagues for choosing me to serve as mayor in this upcoming year. Much of what we get to do here as a city council is already predetermined. We have a lot of programs that are already operating, and it's our job to make sure that they continue. But I want to talk about some of the things that we will be working on and maybe lay out a few new initiatives for the upcoming year. First and foremost, we must do everything we can to oppose and resist the reactionary policies that are coming out of Washington, D.C. These are policies that would eliminate health care for the most vulnerable people in our community, many of them living with HIV and AIDS, many of them with other serious pre-existing conditions, policies which would defund reproductive health care, policies which would undermine the gains of the LGBT community, especially the scant protections that are available for the transgender community. We must oppose and resist all of those policies coming out of Washington that target people of different religions and different races and different ethnicities. We must oppose and resist everything that's coming out of Washington that would attack our immigrant population. And we certainly must oppose all of the belligerent activities in Washington that are alienating our allies and provoking our enemies and creating a climate of instability in the world. But we must do more than simply resist and oppose. We must serve as a strong counter-example in the city of West Hollywood. We must remain a city that promotes equality, that promotes human rights. We must continue to be a leader in the fight for LGBT rights. We must continue to be a leader in the fight for equality for women and girls, and we must continue to fight to ensure that reproductive health care is available to all. We must continue to be committed to providing social services and affordable housing for those in need in our community. And we must continue to be a community that demonstrates our commitment through our funding process. And we also need to continue to be a successful community, a successful, financially viable community, by working closely with our business community to ensure that we have the resources to provide the services for everyone in our community. So we do need to continue our efforts, and I want to thank the mayor, the outgoing mayor, for her work in leading the charge against some of the administration's policies. But some of the things that we're going to be working on this year are continuations of initiatives that were launched in the past. We need to continue our work. As you've already seen, the construction is underway on our West Hollywood Park Master Plan, the construction of our new recreation facility, our new pools, our expanded parkland. We need to continue our efforts to bring Metro Rail to West Hollywood, and I want to publicly thank our colleague Lindsay Horvath for her tremendous advocacy on behalf of that project. We must continue to work to address the problem of homelessness and the public safety issues surrounding homelessness. And I want to thank Lauren Meister for her work on our homeless subcommittee, and I'm hoping that we can continue on that track in the upcoming year. And we have to continue our work to try to reduce HIV transmission to zero. And I want to thank my colleagues, John D'Amico and John Duran, for their work on that. We need to ensure that everyone who is infected is in treatment. We need to ensure that those who are at risk are on PrEP and are using safe sex practices. We're also going to be continuing to work on other issues that have been launched in the last couple of years. We've just begun discussing earthquake retrofitting. That's going to be a discussion that will occupy a significant portion of our time. We began our discussion of the regulation of adult use of cannabis, and that's going to take some time and effort on our part and on the part of our boards and commission. And we're already working on the issue of signage and how do we ensure that we protect our residents while promoting creative signage and also ensuring that we get a share of the tremendous revenue that's coming from the new signs, particularly up on Sunset. But I do want to launch 4 new initiatives for the upcoming year. We've done a good job of looking at parking, particularly in the commercial areas, and figuring out how do we address parking shortages there. We haven't done such a good job of addressing the parking shortages in existing residential neighborhoods. And we hear about those. Anytime there's a development, people all come out to talk about how there's already no parking in their neighborhood. So that's something that I'm going to bring forward with our transportation department, a serious plan for addressing the parking shortages in our existing residential neighborhoods. Second, and I talked about this during the campaign, I want to launch a pilot project that addresses the issue of poverty in West Hollywood. We're a very affluent community. We're fortunate that we have thriving businesses and most of our residents are doing reasonably well. But about 15% of our population lives below the poverty line, and that's about 5,400 people in the city of West Hollywood, many of them seniors, a significant number of them immigrants. We need to look at how we can ease the burden of poverty and, if possible, bring people out of poverty by looking at innovative programs. So what I want us to do is target a small group of individuals and see what actually works, what assistance the city can provide that will assist those who are living on the edge in West Hollywood. Third, I want to look at our infrastructure and ask our staff to develop a longer-term infrastructure plan for the city of West Hollywood. Infrastructure isn't always the sexiest thing, but we all need water, we all need pipes, we need sewers, we need roads, and we've done a good job, I think, overall, of maintaining our streets, our roads, our sidewalks, our curbs. But there's a fair amount of infrastructure that we're going to need in the future. At some point, our sheriff's station will need to be replaced. At some point, we'll need a city hall that is a permanent place for our city. At some point, the fire station on the east side is going to have to be replaced. And we've seen that there's significant problems with the water pipes running to West Hollywood. Now, those are operated by LADWP, but we need to partner with other agencies and make sure that there is a long-range plan to ensure that we have the infrastructure that we need as a successful community. And finally, I want us to look a little bit at an initiative that I started, I think it was around 1999. At that point, we launched an initiative called West Hollywood 2020. And we looked at what would we need for West Hollywood in 2020. Well, we're almost there. And I want us to look at West Hollywood 2050. Engage the community, our residents, our business people, our staff, and envision what is West Hollywood going to look like in 2050. What kind of changes will there be in terms of transportation? We've seen some changes already, but perhaps by then we'll have a viable metro rail running to West Hollywood. We need to look at how businesses will operate. Many people are working at home. Many new businesses are starting. So we need to look at that. We need to look at the LGBT community. Are we going to continue to want a safe place, or are we going to be fully assimilated? Or are we going to have mixed opinions as we do now? How will our immigrant community change? Our current immigrant community, many of them are getting older and some of them are going to pass. Is that going to be replaced by a new wave of immigrants coming to West Hollywood? And what will be the needs of families and younger people today who are in their 20s or 30s? In 2050, they're going to be the next generation of seniors. And what issues will they have, and how do we prepare people who are younger today for the workplace and for the future that they will face? And what will our Main Street, Santa Monica Boulevard, look like, particularly the center section of Santa Monica Boulevard? So I want us to really begin that process. That's going to take several years, but I want us to launch that initiative this year to begin the planning process for 2050. So I'm going to close because we do have some agenda items tonight. I want to end by thanking some people that I didn't get a chance to thank right after the election. I want to thank the amazing volunteers and campaign staff that I had who dedicated so much time to helping me get reelected. I want to thank the organizations that supported me, and I was fortunate to have the endorsement of the LA County Democratic Party, the West Hollywood Beverly Hills Democratic Party, the Stonewall Democratic Club, the Miracle Mile Democratic Club, Equality California, the tenants organization CES, which had supported me in every election, the County Federation of Labor, our local employees union, AFSCME, WeHome, the LA County peace officers, the sheriff's union endorsed me, the Beverly Hills Board of Realtors, Hollywood Now, Planned Parenthood, and the League of Conservation Voters. I really appreciate the support, and I know I listed a lot of Democratic organizations, and I know a few Republicans supported me too, and I thank them as well. And I want to thank the other elected officials who endorsed me. Of course, some of my colleagues endorsed me, Senator Ben Allen, Assemblymember Richard Bloom, our former council member, County Assessor Jeff Prang, our County Supervisor Sheila Kuehl. But most of all, I want to thank the people of West Hollywood for giving me this tremendous opportunity to serve the community. It is such an honor, and I want to thank my colleagues for, again, bestowing this title on me for this year. We have a lot of issues to address in the city of West Hollywood. I know some people always want to hearken back to a past which they think was idyllic, but I was there in the past, and West Hollywood 1984 was not as good as West Hollywood 2017. We've made a tremendous amount of progress here. And I look forward to our future, and I look forward to working with everyone here and my great colleagues to help lead us into the future in this upcoming year. Thank you again for being here, and thank you for your support. And our new Mayor Pro Tem, any remarks? No? Okay. So we will now move to our presentations, and we do have a couple of presentations tonight. I think our first, and maybe our only one, other than the presentation to Lauren, is National Bike Month. Is Kevin Burton here? Kevin, please come forward. Kevin has been such an incredible leader with our Bicycle Coalition. The West Hollywood Bicycle Coalition, together with advocacy groups throughout the state, are promoting greater awareness of bicycle operation and safety education. May is National Bike Month for each of the last 61 years, and we're proud to declare it National Bike Month here in the city of West Hollywood. Please join me in thanking the West Hollywood Bicycle Coalition.
Thank you, John, and my appreciation to the entire council and the city for this presentation. Myself and all my colleagues at the West Hollywood Bicycle Coalition very much appreciate the council's recognizing Bike Month, which is a national event, and there's a lot going on around the county to celebrate all things bicycling this month. And this week is Bike Week, and we are partnering with the city for a couple of events, one of which is a bike light giveaway tomorrow evening at Fat Burger at Vista and Santa Monica Boulevard. So if you know of any bicyclists who are in need of lights to remain safe at night, please send them our way. We'll be handing out lights as well as other safety information. Secondly, on Thursday morning, the Bicycle Coalition will be partnering again with the city to hold Bike to Work Day festivities early morning near Hancock Boulevard during the morning rush hour at Santa Monica and near Hancock. So look for us there. We'll be handing out food, drinks, materials about bicycling in West Hollywood, and particularly materials on how to safely bicycle the city streets, because as we've just discussed with regard to the bicycle and pedestrian plans, there are a number of challenges that we're all continuing to work on. And as part of that effort, the Bicycle Coalition has partnered with WehoPedals to hand out a handy-dandy pocket guide, which is produced by the County Bicycle Coalition. This is pocket-sized, but it folds out and gives a brief summary of all of the California vehicle codes that apply to bicycles. And I don't think many people in this room have all those memorized, but it's a good idea for all bicyclists, especially those who are not frequent bicyclists who might be using the bike share bicycles, to have some idea what the vehicle codes say you ought to be doing. And this guide gives a brief summary as well as the actual vehicle code of all of those. I'll be handing this stack to the city clerk, so if everyone on the days can have a copy of this. Please study it when you get it, because I know you're all avidly bicycling on the bike share bicycles from time to time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. And before we turn to public comment, I want to acknowledge two other people who are here tonight. Our former council member, Abby Land, is here. Thank you for being here. And I also forgot to thank my colleagues from school, and I see our academic dean, Chris Cameron, is here, who accommodates my schedule. No classes on Monday night for me ever, so thank you so much for being here as well. We'll now turn to public comment, and we have comments on excluded or consent calendar items first, and our first speaker is Kathy Blavis, to be followed by Joel Mark. Kathy?
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. Kathy Blavis, City of West Hollywood. The first thing I want to mention is May is Historic Preservation Month. And a week from tonight, actually, will be the annual Historic Preservation event on, they're closing off Flores. Excuse me, Harper. So it should be on the West Hollywood calendar. Then with regard to consent item, the test implementation of the speed bumps on Vista Street. I'm grateful that this is happening, but I do want to say it took about almost 15 years to get this to actually happen. And that's just a note to community members that perseverance really pays off. So I'm really happy that that's happening. The other thing I just wanted to mention was 2I, the prioritization. Plummer Park. I can't start a new term for our mayor without mentioning Plummer Park. And I just want to make sure that we have meaningful input and that it comes back to community and that we ideally don't start with a phase that, a master plan that may no longer be what the community wants. And then last, getting back to perseverance, I want to thank former Mayor Lauren Meister, who I think epitomizes perseverance. With your unwavering determination and continued efforts to serve our community and make our city better. A job well done for a first-time mayor. So thank you, and thank you.
Joel Mark, to be followed by Stephanie Harker.
Joel Mark, resident West Hollywood. I want to thank the city for putting in the speed bumps on Vista. I'm glad it's finally happening. Now I would like to speak about the Aging in Place program. WeHo was, one of the reasons WeHo was founded was to help seniors from losing their housing. But when you're aging in place, you need a place to age in. And there is a lack of adequate senior and low-income housing in this city. I want to talk about a neighbor who was ellised out after living in her home for 20 years. She pays about $1,080 a month, always paid. She makes about $19,000 a year, runs 3 jobs for which she needs her car. She applied at the domain, too low of an income. The Crown has no parking. She has to keep professional equipment in her car, and she was told she should park on the street in Los Angeles by a city employee. I think the first priority for the Aging in Place program should be housing for seniors, for low-income people, and not some of the feel-good projects that are a higher priority right now. The housing projects, many of the housing projects that do come into town have lists that are countywide. We need senior housing, low-income housing that is designed for the residents of West Hollywood. Just the way we need to remember one of the reasons we were founded. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. Stephanie Harker.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. There were several items on consent that I wanted to touch on. First of all, 2I, although has that been continued as a consent item? But quickly on that, I'm hoping that, because in the staff report, it stated about Elsie Weissman's house that we inherited as a city and a community, that it was stable. However, a neighbor sent me a picture last week showing visible signs of wood rot and decay, so perhaps we can keep that stable, and maybe it can be moved up the list for use by the public as a public facility. And of course, as Kathy Blavis, co-founder of Protect Plummer Park, mentioned, we'd love to have significant public input on the new plans for the park. And the sooner we start on that, the better, so we don't get down to the wire and we haven't used the money that we did finally get from the state. I'd like to thank the consent item 2P for the support of AB 424 to keep guns out of school. And as you mentioned, Mayor Heilman, that it's a national item that we need to keep an eye on. Guns do not belong in schools, no matter what. And the speed bumps on Vista Street, it was also mentioned that we've been asking for almost 15 years, and we did research. But I wouldn't say we asked, we begged for 15 years, and we would like to see that implemented as fast as possible. Lastly, I want to thank Lauren Meister for my appointment to the Rent Stabilization. It was a privilege and an honor to serve for the 2-year term. I want to thank outgoing Mayor Lauren Meister with gratitude for your service to all of the citizens of West Hollywood. As a first-time mayor, you handled the position with grace and aplomb. You have been unflappable and steadfast in the face of some rough times, blatant misogyny, and unfounded verbal attacks from this very podium. You never lost your cool, always put the citizens first, and always put our city first, and I thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Scott Houston. Scott?
Well, good evening, Mayor Heilman and the members of the City Council. I'm Scott Houston from the West Basin Municipal Water District Board, one of your elected representatives of West Hollywood. I'm really happy to be here tonight to come down personally and really thank former Mayor, outgoing Mayor Lauren Meister for her service as the Mayor of West Hollywood. And I also just wanted to recognize from the bottom of my heart her leadership and her commitment and her genuine interest in water issues. And I think that's been a real asset to your council, representing you in this region, working with West Basin and other water retailers and wholesalers in the region, but also the fact that I commend you, Lauren, for working to address the concerns of some of the residents here when it comes to working with Beverly Hills Water as well. So I want to say thank you for that. But again, one of the things that I think is really to be spoken about and commended is the fact that you have a real champion on water here, and so I want to thank her for that. I also, on behalf of West Basin, I brought a proclamation, but I wanted to read 2 of the paragraphs here because they are very sincere, and I think they really express the work that she has done. So, whereas Lauren Meister's efforts to reduce water usage and promote conservation in the community resulted in a partnership with West Basin Municipal Water District to install an ocean-friendly demonstration garden that was unveiled on Wednesday, March 29th, 2017, which, by the way, is just down the street here. And I really thank the whole council for helping us put that together, the Median Project up here in West Hollywood. And the other paragraph I want to say is, whereas Lauren Meister has demonstrated her commitment to upholding one of the City of West Hollywood's core values, responsibility for the environment, through her advocacy for reduced water use and conservation, and by her passion to educate the city's residents about ecological stewardship. So I wanted to bring this personally on behalf of our board for outgoing Mayor Meister. And while I'm here too, I also want to say some kind words, of course, to Mayor Heilman and Mayor Pro Tem John Duran, and certainly for your longtime leadership in our LGBT community as elected officials, both for your local, regional activities, but also the involvement you've had through different organizations that have given you a platform for our community on a national stage. And so you've been trendsetters and activists and open doors for the rest of us to follow. So I also want to thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you so much, Scott.
Josh Kerpes to be followed by Fernando Morales.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here on behalf of Assemblymember Bloom. My name is Josh Kerpes. I'm his district director. I wanted to congratulate John Heilman and John Duran on your election as mayor and mayor pro tem. And I wanted to actually come here on behalf of the Assemblymember and present Mayor Meister with a proclamation on behalf of the State Assembly and Assemblymember Richard Bloom in recognition of your selfless dedication to the West Hollywood community, shown through exemplary leadership as mayor of the City of West Hollywood by encouraging public engagement, bolstering the strong relationship between the neighborhood communities and public safety officials, and responsiveness to the needs and concerns of the residents and businesses throughout the city. So thank you very much for your leadership this last year. And
Thank you so much, Josh.
Josh Fernando Morales, to be followed by Rob Bergstein.
Hi, it's an honor to be here today on behalf of Senator Allen. First of all, I want to say congratulations and thank you to Mayor Heilman and Mayor Pro Tem Duran. And I wanted to make sure to say on behalf of Senator Allen, thank you for continuing the energy that you can feel in West Hollywood. This engagement that you see and the amount of people that are waiting to come here to be a part of the process is truly incredible. Thank you for being a city of progress. And I also wanted to make sure to congratulate outgoing Mayor Meister with a state certificate from Senator Allen and from the State Senate, and I wanted to make sure to read a few words from it. In recognition of your remarkable contributions to the city of West Hollywood, with sincere appreciation for your excellent service as mayor, your commitment to social services, traffic and parking impact mitigation, affordable housing, older adult well-being, environmental sustainability, and other essential issues has made West Hollywood the most fortunate city. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And if I could ask you all to stay a little bit after we finish our business, we'll come down and we'll have an opportunity for a photo op with the outgoing mayor. All right, Rob, to be followed by Yola Doré. And we have about 7 or 8 more people for those of you who are waiting to get to the festivities upstairs.
Hi, Rob Bergstein, resident city of West Hollywood. Outgoing Mayor Meister, council members, I just wanted to take a moment to thank all of you. While we sometimes have a very similar view of our vision for the city and sometimes a radically different view of the city, I just wanted to thank all of you for your compassion, your zeal, your commitment, and I know it's a lot of work. So I respect each and every one of you and want to thank you for your continued public service. John Heilman, John Duran, I am so incredibly grateful that you are willing to continue serving the residents and businesses of the city of West Hollywood. I know that our city is in good hands, and just thank you for your continued service.
Thank you, Rob. Yola, to be followed by Vince Roncone.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm so proud to be standing here before you this evening. Each and every one of you is so special to me. And I am so proud to live in a city that has such forward thinking, such progressive and proactive citizens and leaders. It just makes me shine. This evening, I want to take one moment to congratulate you, but the second moment to bring up again health care. It's something that's very, very important. And because I know we have some Senate offices and representatives in our audience this evening, it is the prime moment to mention these things. So let's join together, and please, if you Facebook, if you tweet, or do any of these things, and you happen to have a pre-existing condition, please put your hashtag and place the words "I am pre-existing" on your page temporarily. Make a statement, and make that statement for everyone in this city who happens, as I do, to live with a pre-existing condition. You will begin the conversation. You will begin to help this community going forward. I thank you.
Thank you, Yola. Vince Roncone, to be followed by Jimmy Palmieri.
Hi, Vince Roncone. First of all, I'd like to congratulate John Duran, Mayor Pro Tem, John Heilman as mayor. It was and hello to city council members. It's great to see you, and Mr. Arvello. John, 2 years ago, I got to work on your campaign. And I just want to let everybody know that since then, I've been working for a nonprofit organization called Sober Living Network. We manage and inspect and train people to run sober living homes. We have over 1,200 in Southern California. And with the recent Affordable Care Act, that money, there was millions. I'm not sure Laura might know the amount that is cut from the budget. So a lot of nonprofits are going under. You know, myself, I've taken a volunteer position from a paid position to stay on until we figure something out and ways to get grants. So I hope I get an opportunity to meet with you and to talk with you, you know, about the good work that we're doing. And also, John and I have been working together for 13 years. I've been going to the West Hollywood Recovery Center, and I just want to thank you so much for your commitment to remodel and renovate the center. Today I'm 13 years sober, and I think if Abby's here and John, you remember me when? John Heilman. And John Duran, thank you for all your help.
Thank you, Vince. Jimmy Palmieri, to be followed by Lynn, et cetera.
Good evening, Council. Jimmy Palmieri, City of West Hollywood. First, I'd like to thank Lauren. We don't always get along politically, but I actually see your passion and I understand it. And we don't get along, but I know you love this city, and I'm grateful for that. Congratulations to John Heilman. You know, I moved here in 1994 from New York, and I needed to do something, and it was around 96. I met this blonde lady in City Hall, and she said, well, I have some stuff for you to do, and I literally licked envelopes for, I think it was Fran. But
I
no
thought
one,
you were referring to me as the blonde lady.
I think it was Fran, the very first one that spoke to me and said, I'll give you some opportunities here. What no one knew was I was bringing rock and roll royalty into the rooms to lick envelopes with me, and we were just laughing so hard. Fast forward, I'm so happy to be John Duran's commissioner. You know, I've supported you way before I was your commissioner. We've known each other a very long time, and your commitment to what I work on it never fails to amaze me. You know, I want you to understand that 72 people have been literally personally brought into rehab by me because of the ability that you've given me, and there's no thanking you for that. It's incredible. As far as Lindsay and John D'Amico, I'm really happy that you're on the council, and I know your commitment, and I see it all of the time. We don't always agree on everything, but I see it. And Paul Aravallo, a lot of people don't thank you, but this city is thriving under your watch, and I'm grateful for that too. Thanks.
Thank you, Jimmy. Mr. Et cetera, to be followed by Elena Goldenberg.
Lynn, et cetera, West Hollywood. Continuing my comment from prior, the trauma of having to relive the 80s and 90s watching some sadists throw away a gay person's lifetime. Other than the two things mentioned before, not one person rescued anything out of the dumpsters. The reality of having something freely offered, something not given to out of the closet, or the condition of Jon Stewart's many useless working rules of suppression. Who wants to remember? Jon Stewart came at us simply nice gay people like we were criminals. The first month, 8.5 nightmare years ago, Jon Stewart deposited everyone's rent checks every day they came in. Prior, all checks were deposited on the 5th. Disability and Social Security arrive on the 3rd. People's checks bounce. Oh, Jon Stewart's never heard of checks arriving on the 3rd. The first election after they took over, they scheduled a termite inspection. Not that any of us is terminal. No poll workers allowed unless you trusted bullies. Alpha that I am, I fought, and checks are deposited on the 5th, and inspections are not scheduled on Elections Day. I'm going to continue my rant about Jon Stewart, but I'm going to simplify it. Can you, City Council, hire a management company that knows the name out of the closet? I'm sure Jon Stewart will now say, we never heard of no out of the closet. Thank you, City Council member.
And our last speaker is Elena Goldenberg.
Good evening, council members, city manager and city attorney. My name is Elena Goldenberg, and I'm living in the city since 1994, many years already, and I think I live in the best city in the world, really. After the city what I came from, Tbilisi. I want to congratulate you today, Mr. John Heilman and John Duran. That was a great victory, and I'm very happy that I was involved in that victory a little bit. And I would say, like a representative from Russian community, we all happy that you are today a mayor. Thank you, Ms. Lauren Meister, for your great work. Really, we're watching you. But you did a great job. You always come and involved in Russian community, and that was very important for us. Thank you, Lindsay, for all your hard work, and John D'Amico. I wish in this term you're gonna do the great job, greatest than it was before. You always did a great job, but we wish and we're gonna pray for you to do better job, and we will do our best to help you to work with that. I know it's a lot of issues right now with the health care and with low-income housing and a lot of other issues people were talking about before me, and I really agree with them. So we need to do a lot of work, and don't hesitate to ask Russian-speaking community if you need something. We will do our best to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. So we'll now turn to council member comments and meeting attendance reports. Council member Horvath.
Thank you, Mayor. I first want to say congratulations to Councilmember Meister on her year as mayor. Among the many accomplishments that you listed, I personally was proud to witness your leadership and making a great impression for all of us in our city, especially on animal issues and healthcare, both in Sacramento and in Washington, D.C. You have extended our leadership beyond our borders in many areas, especially in those, and I want to thank you for your work over the past year for every single citizen of this city. We really appreciate it. I also want to wish the best of luck and congratulations to Mayor Heilman and Mayor Pro Tem John Duran on their next year serving our city. As you can hear, we expect big things, but it sounds like you have big things planned too, and we know that the big things turn into great things as evidenced in our city today. So thank you and best of luck in your upcoming year. It sounds like we owe Vince Francone a happy birthday, but I also wanted to wish Rob Bergstein a happy birthday. I know it was a big year this year, and I want to wish you the happiest of birthdays and thank you so much for being a member of our community. Two quick comments on consent agenda items. Item 2L, which is related to the speed lumps. I know it's in the report, but I just want to make sure that we are making space available for bike lanes to be accommodated. I know that at our last meeting we discussed having bike lanes on this street, and so I want to make sure that the speed lumps will not inhibit the safe passage of bikers on this street. And also, I'm glad to see item 2M and thank my colleagues for their support and all of our staff for their continued work to see our continued investment in advancing rail to West Hollywood. That conversation was one of many that happened this past weekend at California Contract Cities Association. I participated as the city's representative this past weekend. And among other conversations included the Liability Trust Fund discussion, as well as a legislative update. We were able to meet the newly elected officials from around the region. I had the honor of hosting the luncheon discussion with supervisors Janice Hahn and Catherine Barger, as well, which also included Assemblymember Laura Friedman. And I want to give a shout out to Francisco Contreras, who gave a great presentation on innovation and what's happening here in our city for the many cities represented in California Contract Cities. Our former colleague, Jeffrey Prang, was the Master of Ceremonies for the Diamond Jubilee Gala, and he was surprisingly very funny. So, but it was very nice to see him as always. And even more surprising was seeing our sheriff's captain out on the dance floor. Sorry, I just busted that. But it was a really fun time, but we all learned a lot and were able to work together. I want to apologize. Because I was there, I did miss the Women's Leadership Conference this past weekend, so I want to thank everyone who attended and apologize for my absence, as well as for the Victory in Europe celebration as I was out of town. But I want to thank all of our veterans and our staff who made that possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Meister.
Thank you, Mayor Heilman. I attended County Supervisor Kuehl hosted a meeting about community choice energy and also stormwater, and that will be coming before us soon. It was an interesting meeting and very informative, and I was glad that she held that. I wanted to let everyone know that City's recreation team is seeking feedback on future programs and services. As I mentioned earlier, they have launched a 5-minute online survey, and residents and community members are encouraged to provide input and suggestions. And remember that it's parks make our life better, so we should have, you want to have a say in that in terms of what recreational services and programs you'd like to see over the next few years. I just had one question on consent calendar 2J, the status update on community safety issues for the East Side. I just ask that we defer point 6 recommendation, which is the recommendation about the branding issue, and wondered if we can defer that to when we, I think staff is going to be bringing back to us the East Side Community Plan.
The item is not a recommendation to do anything. It's just a receive and file of an update. And I think that was the intention, to defer that until there was further discussion.
Great, super. And I want to thank all my commissioners and board members, those that have retired as well as those that are continuing, and my new board members and commissioners. I really appreciate all the hard work that you do, and it doesn't go unnoticed. And I want to thank my colleagues for their kind words, and it was really a pleasure to be mayor. I even got an extra month, so these past 13 months. And I want to thank the city manager as well.
Thank you, Lauren. John D'Amico?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to make a quick thank you to Lauren Meister, whose name I stumble over, even though we're longtime friends and short-time colleagues. Your steady and thoughtful leadership and willingness to talk through every issue in front of the public is just really brilliant, actually. It's really a pleasure to work with you. I can't thank you enough. And to our incoming Mayor John Horvath, Heilman, I want to thank you for your singular ability to synthesize and summarize, in this case, the initiatives that all of us know we need to do, and we look forward to you helping us move forward. So with that, may this year bring you much peace and not too much agita. Congratulations.
Thank you. And Mayor Pro Tem, John Duran.
Thank you, Mayor. To start my comments out, I'd like to ask Darrell Cummings to come to the podium for a second, because one of the big success stories of West Hollywood Housing Corporation and the City of West Hollywood and the LGBT Center working together are two of our newest residents who are immigrants and now living on Palm, and Nenad Mihailovic, I think, and Bohan Babic, who are up here in the front. And I'll let Darrell tell everyone in the audience a bit about our two newest residents of the City of West Hollywood.
Thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem, congratulations. Congratulations, Mayor Heilman. And to all of you, let me just say it's shockingly refreshing to be in a place where the government elected officials take an oath to uphold the Constitution and truly mean it. So we thank you for that. I have the great pleasure of introducing my two new very good friends, Nenad and Boyan. And they are one of the newest residents of the City of West Hollywood. And let me give you a little of their backstory. Several months ago, I received a call from an organization in New York asking if we at the center could help with a gay couple who had been granted political asylum from the country of Serbia. We said, well, we've never done this before, but sure, we'll try it. And as we learned more about the situation, we realized how difficult this was. This couple, and particularly Nenad, are human rights activists, have been human rights activists in the country of Serbia. And as a result of their activism, and particularly the public television show that Nenad hosted that held to account the country's government officials that were systematically stripping away the human rights of its citizens, including and especially the LGBT community, they began to fear for their lives and have threats on a regular basis against their lives. Ultimately, they applied for political asylum. That was granted under the Obama administration, I might add, and came to the United States to start their new life without fear. They were assigned to Phoenix, Arizona, under the support of a religious-based asylee support organization. That experience turned out to be one that was filled with homophobia and with an abject failure to address the needs of Nenad, who lives with a pretty severe disability. The situation became so bad that they felt the only way they could literally survive was to leave Arizona and return to Serbia, where again their lives would be in danger. They were offered an alternative of relocating to Fort Worth, but wise as they were, decided that Fort Worth may not be a lot better than the experience that they were having, and left to return to Serbia. Unfortunately, when that happens, asylees often give up their rights because they have returned to a place that they have claimed is extremely dangerous for them. So day in and day out, these two were living in fear of their very lives, and that's when I was contacted by this organization in New York. We talked a lot, and I began an online relationship with these two that went on for a number of months, and they wanted to come to LA. This was their dream area to come in, and I knew that the only thing that was between them having a new life in this area and staying in Serbia was housing. And we're fortunate enough to be partnered not only with the City of West Hollywood, but the West Hollywood Community Housing Corporation. And we placed one call to them, and it was like a miracle happened. They said, well, as a matter of fact, we just have an opening that was built in a complex for people living with disabilities. That might be possible. And ultimately, it was, and a few weeks ago, these two arrived in West Hollywood, moved into the apartment that the West Hollywood Community Housing Corporation had worked to make sure that it was suitable for their needs, and are, based on my conversations with them, could not be happier than to live in the city that they have dreamed about, the city of West Hollywood, who stands strongly in support of all the human rights that their home country has denied its people. So thank you all very much, and thank you to the West Hollywood Community Housing Corporation.
Nenad and Bojan, I just want to tell you, you are no longer strangers. You are now family. Welcome to your new home, the city of West Hollywood. You will live here freely and happily for all your days. Welcome to our city.
I am told that they're very good cooks, so feel free to drop by their apartment, the Palm.
You're all invited to Palm Avenue for Serbian food.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gerald. Thank you for indulging me, my colleagues and community, for just that moment. I just wanted to make sure they felt welcome. Two quick comments about my colleagues. First, to Lauren Meister, congratulations on an awesome year. And it's right what my colleague here was saying, unflappable, steady. Sitting in that chair can be the hot seat. We all know, we've all sat in that chair at one point or another, and you did a tremendous job. And I really want to say publicly that it's interesting, people think that we all battle out here, and yet on 90% of the issues, we're all the same, on the same page. And I really appreciate the opportunities that you reached out across the aisle to me, across to all of us here, to get consensus and move things forward with compromise and negotiation. So fantastic job as our outgoing mayor. Congratulations, Lauren. And this one here, I've known since 1986. His hair was purple, I think. I'm not even sure what color it was in 1986. But before I came to the city of West Hollywood, I lived in Laguna Beach. I got to meet John Heilman and Steve Schulte back then, and they were starting this brand new city. And what he just did at the beginning of the meeting, laying out charting a course for the next 30 years, is in fact his greatest strength. He's a visionary. All that we enjoy, all the largesse that we have today, all the surplus, all the great benefits we have are the result of a lot of his vision and then getting his colleagues and community to rally around him and support him. So I want to thank you for being our city, one of our city founders, fathers, and all the great work that you do here. And I want to conclude with thanking Mike Jenkins, because nobody else thanked Mike Jenkins tonight. Thank you to our city attorney for also keeping us on the pathway. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. It really is a team effort, and I want to thank, we have a lot of board and commission members here tonight, and we couldn't do the work that we do without all of your work and all the hard work of our staff, our city manager, and our city attorney. Thank you all for your constant leadership and your constant attention. I just have a few brief remarks about some upcoming events, and I know people hate that when we do this, but we've got some great events coming up. May 17th is our senior health fair at Plummer Park. Also May 17th, if you haven't had enough of this auditorium tonight, on Wednesday we have our public safety awards, and I want to encourage everyone to come out for those. May 22nd, in addition to our historic preservation event, we also have our Harvey Milk recognition that night. It's going to be over at the Abbey. And on May 31st, we have our Human Rights Speaker Series event, and that focuses on international LGBT issues. And I hope our newest residents may be able to join us, maybe even be on the panel that night. And then finally, our Russian Cultural Festival is this upcoming Sunday, the 21st at Plummer Park, and I want to invite everyone out to that. So thank you again, and we now have the city manager's report and then our consent calendar.
Great, thank you, Mayor. I'll be really quick. There was one question raised regarding item 2L, and the answer is yes, we are anticipating as part of the traffic controls on Vista that we will have bike lanes, so we will obviously accommodate them. I wanted to, on behalf of all of City Hall staff, congratulate and thank outgoing Mayor Meister. We really appreciated your grace, your leadership, and resolve over the last 13 months, and it was really a pleasure and an honor working with you. And for Council or Mayor Pro Tem Duran, congratulations on the appointment. And for the new Mayor Heilman, we're going to be getting out of here at 7:30 tonight. Keep up the good work.
All right, we just have our consent calendar, and Vaughn, what is the fiscal impact of the consent calendar as amended?
The fiscal impact for tonight's consent calendar, with the addition of items 5A, 5B, and 5C, and the removal of item 2I, is $171,030 in expenditures, $0 in potential revenue, and $0 in waive fees.
And removal of 4A also, yes?
We tabled
4A. We tabled 4A.
Thank you.
So,
I'll move the consent calendar.
it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please push your buttons. And it is approved. Great, thank you. And we have no excluded consent or legislative. Any additional council member comments? Let's hope not. So we are now adjourned to our next regular meeting, which is June 5th. And thank you all for being here. There is a reception upstairs in the library. Yes. And if I could ask our dignitaries to come down and get a photograph with our outgoing mayor.